Hey, so I'm here today to show you guys some stuff that I got in the mail. Now, I every month I make an Amazon purchase just to buy either retro games or accessories or consoles or things like that. I have a certain budget that I go with, and this month, two of the pieces that I got were things that are just missing out of my collection, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Now, I've already opened these up. And I'll show you the first one. The first one's pretty awesome. Now, what it is the special edition Pokemon Yellow Game Boy Color. Now, if you look, you can see it right there. It does have a little bit of wear on the screen, and we'll take a closer look at that here later. But it's in pretty good shape. Now, I haven't tested this out yet, but once we get through the video a little bit, I'm going to put some batteries in it and we'll test this out and play a little bit and see how it works. It does have a little bit of a little film on it, and I think, yeah, we can go ahead and just peel that off. Oh, and most of the scratches come off right there, so I may get another little film thing just to protect from scratches, but it's a pretty good screen. I don't see much wrong with it. I'm hoping there's no like dead pixels or anything like that, but pretty awesome. So when I was coming up with this video, some research I did told me that in Europe they just sold this by itself, and then in the US it was originally paired with the Pokemon Yellow cartridge for the Game Boy, which I thought was pretty cool. And funny enough, in Australia they actually sold this with Pikachu-themed batteries, which I don't know if you'd ever want to use because they're Pikachu-themed batteries. But I thought that was pretty interesting. So we'll set this aside for now. And the second piece that I have is something that I've been looking for a while, and it is a Game Boy Micro. But it's not just any Game Boy Micro. It is the 20th anniversary Special Edition Game Boy Micro. And I have tested this one out already, but we're going to go ahead and throw this up later and talk about some of the games and the resolution and stuff that we can do with it. But I've wanted a Game Boy Micro ever since they first came out. Was never able to get one. And for a long time, these are stupid expensive. They haven't really gone down in price too much, especially on places that are giant marketplaces like Amazon. Even eBay keeps them up pretty high. At my local retro gaming stores, they still have them up moderately high, but this edition is pretty expensive. So it's kind of one of those things that I'm just going to put it on display and make sure nothing happens to it. But it did come with this and the charger. So yeah, and what's really neat about this version is that it's the 20th anniversary, like I said before, but it's the 20th anniversary of the Famicom. So not the original Nintendo, but of the Famicom, which was the Japanese Nintendo. It's what they had, and then they turned it into the Nintendo Entertainment System in the US later. So it's kind of got the colors of this dark red, reddish maroon, and the metallic gold theme right here on the front. And I'm pretty sure this still would work with faceplates, but I wouldn't want to put a faceplate on this one. If I happen to get others, then I would probably put faceplates on them. But this is a pretty cool find. I had a little bit of an issue with it when I first tested it out. It didn't hold a charge very well. Granted, I only plugged it in for about 30 minutes. But I did get a complete system reset where I was playing a game and then it just reset on me. So I charged it up for a little while longer after that, and it worked fine. So I'm assuming it's going to work when I show you guys here in a little bit. But what's really neat about this is that this was released just like this in, I think, all regions: Japan, North America, and some other places. But so this is the 20th anniversary Game Boy Micro. Pretty cool. Now, going back to the Game Boy Color, before we get into like a play test of this, when I was doing research, there's a lot of special edition Game Boy Colors. I always knew that there was lots of colors of just the basic models, but when I was growing up, we had the kiwi, which is the light green, and the teal, which was kind of that softer blue color, which unfortunately I can't locate now. But there's a lot of special editions, especially that came out in other countries. So a couple of them that I have up here, there was, now I'm only going to talk about just the Pokemon special editions, because there are dozens of other colors and other editions that came out around the world, but just the Pokemon ones. The first one they had was a clear blue, so it was in that 90s phase where everything had to be see-through. You saw it a lot on the Nintendo 64. They even did it on the Game Boy Advance. And it was a clear plastic, but it was blue. And it came out in Hong Kong, and it had a blue clear front and a white back. But it's kind of that crystal clear. They also came out with one in Taiwan that was clear green, in that same kind of thing. But it had this Pokemon-themed border around on both of those. And then in North America, Europe, Australia, and South America, they had the Pokemon Gold, which was when Pokemon Gold came out. But it was like this metallic-y, very metallic, not like a shiny metallic, but that dark gold color. And it had the border. They also had a Pokemon Center version, which had a Pokemon border again, but it was orange on the front, and then it had blue on the back. Now, it even said Pokemon Center written at the bottom, or right in here, Pokemon Center. And then they also had another one, which was silver colored, which was a Pokemon Center variant that came out in Japan. So there's a lot of just Pokemon-centered Game Boy Colors, which I thought was really interesting. But there's dozens of other Game Boy Colors, Game Boy Color variants that you could find. But this is one that when I saw it, I knew I wanted it. I started playing the Pokemon games when they first came out, and so whenever I saw this, I knew I had to have it. So I'm glad that I can now add this to my collection. So let's hop on over and check out how these things play. Alright, so now the first thing that we have with these two things is I have turned this on, and it does work, and I've already talked about that I tested this one, but let's start with the Game Boy Color. So let me set this aside. Now, we can take a closer look to the screen, and it does look really good. I was really scared about that. That was my biggest worry about purchasing this, especially not seeing it in person. Screens are always one of those things where you never know what it's going to look like or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with that. You can see the buttons, the red A button, the green B button, and the blue D-pad, which the colorful buttons that we have here are just so nice. They're really bright, nothing faded. Even the Pokemon borders around are in really good shape, and I love that the Pokeball has the power light associated with it. On the back, the original battery cover, I did see a lot of these that didn't have the original battery cover, or didn't have the battery cover at all. Fun fact, battery covers are like a big thing that goes missing on a lot of handhelds. Before rechargeable batteries, battery covers got lost all the time because these little clips break really easy, and it's just plastic, so it's expected. It's not the most durable thing, but if you pull that too hard, you can see that it'll break, and you can already see the stress. That white part of the plastic, that's the stress right there. That's when it's been bent back and forth. So changing batteries in this will be something that I do very sparingly to kind of save on the wear and tear, which means that I probably won't keep batteries in it all the time. I normally play my Game Boy games on my Game Boy Advance SP, so it'll be nice to play them on this. What I will be missing is that color screen, or that light up screen. So let's go ahead and throw a game in here. Now, since this is the Pokemon Yellow edition for the Game Boy Color, I thought no other game should be perfect except the Pokemon Yellow edition game. I love this game. The first Gen 1 of Pokemon are my favorite. Some of my favorite games. They are unbelievably fun to play and replay. My Red has everything on it. I think this has... I don't know if I've played through all this. And over the years, I've kind of lost and gotten new cards. So we'll turn this bad boy on and see what we have. So go ahead and insert it in here. Make sure it's in. It's a nice sound. We're getting that corrupted look. So let me take it out. Now you'll see that kind of burn-in look. I don't remember that being a big thing. Still getting a corrupted logo. I'm going to do the thing that we always did as kids, but you should never do, is blow in the cart. I'm going to try to do it to where I'm not getting any moisture in it. Okay, let's see how that works. Haha, we are good. And now we're getting the screen. Now, with this kind of stuff, without a screen capture, it's difficult to see. But you can see that the logo's coming up. The speaker sounds pretty good. The Game Boy Color speakers were never amazing by any means, but it sounds okay. The screen does not look like it has any dead pixels. I'm not seeing anything that sticks out. The most clunky sound ever. I have seen modded Game Boy Colors that improve the speaker and add a backlight. If I had multiple units, I would definitely have a modded Game Boy Color, but like I said, I've kind of lost track of some of my other ones. But I'm liking how this is. The design of the Game Boy Color, the only critique I've ever had for it is the fact that if this speaker grill is here, you know, I don't know people who play just like this. You know, your hand's gonna get in the way. So you play like this. If you hear that. Now I've got, you know, somewhat big hands, so it may be a little bit more dramatic for me, but, and it's restarted from the beginning again. But it muffles that speaker. And when I'm playing like this, and you get into it, you're gonna cover up that speaker. To me, it would have made more sense to put it right here in the center, or right there. But I can understand not here where the Nintendo logo is. So, it's just one of those things where, if I was to make a design choice, I would have put it somewhere where it's not going to get obstructed, like closer to the center. And that would make sense because the headphone jack is closer to the center. I do have a game file on here. Let's see what it looks like. Nope, it's not complete. Only 38 Pokemon on here. 22 hours, so definitely not a complete file. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Now, it goes so well together. The yellows are really close. This is a little bit more, the cart is a little bit more vibrant than this. This is a little duller, or a more dull yellow, but the colors are very similar, and I really like having this now. And honestly, I may only play this game on this console, which would be hilarious, but this works pretty well. I think it's a pretty good find. Now let's move on over to the Micro. Now the Micro, this is one of those things that I always thought was so interesting. It's one of those consoles, it only plays Game Boy Advance games. So you could only play Game Boy Advance cartridges, which seems really limiting. But if you look at the form factor of this, and once I insert the game, which I'm going to go with Mario Kart Super Circuit, that form factor, that line is almost unbroken. This raises up just a little bit past this form line. And so the design of this is really sleek. I was always really envious of people who had these. They were just so nice. And my only critiques for this is that it is tiny. Which it goes with the name. It's a Game Boy Micro. But with someone who has bigger hands, this can be uncomfortable to play, especially on Mario Kart, which we'll see here in a second. But dropping items while playing, if you're getting into it, you kind of bite down on that, on the controller parts a little bit more. It does have really responsive clicky, if you can hear it, clicky shoulder buttons, which is really nice. And the fact that they're on this edition, they are very metallic, very shiny, which is code for fingerprints galore, which with this, the screen is right in line with it. There's no separation, so there's smears and smudges, which a cleaning cloth will take that off. But with the A and B button, they are really responsive, not very squishy. The B button has a little less resistance. The A button feels like it's a very meaty button. There's a little bit more resistance behind it. Makes me feel like I'm actually pressing down something. The B button seems a little, I don't want to say squishy, but it feels like there's some dead space in there, which could be the design of the system. I've never had one of these, so I don't know if that's common, but the A button feels a little bit more genuine. Not to say that this is fake or anything, but the B button seems a little squishy. The D-pad feels nice. Again, it's small, and if we compare it to the Game Boy Color, it's virtually the same size, but it just feels small. Especially, I think it's because of how close it is to the edge here. There's not a lot of room for your hand to kind of grace over this side a little bit. One of the things that you'll notice about the aesthetic of this is the faceplate. Now, this again is to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Famicom, but you'll see that Roman numeral 1, that's to signify the Player 1 controller. With the Famicom, you'll see that. You'll see Roman numeral 1 for Player 1 and Roman numeral 2 for Player 2. What I think would be really interesting is that if they release these, to have one variant that says 1, one variant that says 2, and just make them super rare. I think people would pay out the nose for that kind of stuff. So let's kind of take a tour of this before we get started. Start and selector down here. I don't know if I like this kind of, it's not on the face, but it's right here on the edge. And they kind of beveled this back a little bit. So you have start and select, which they have it there, but it's also, if you can kind of see it, you can't really see it, but it says start and select on the buttons themselves. And when you're charging it, lights emanate from there, and it gives you light updates when you're playing, and I think it blinks red when it's close to dying. On the back, you'll see just it says Game Boy Micro and all the important information there. It tells you where the headset, the headphone jack is, the volume rocker, and it gives you little instructions going plus and minus. Over here on this side, this is a rechargeable battery, which you can take this out, and then it's got a battery that just kind of hangs with cords right there. This is the port for the power adapter, and on the bottom we have the power switch. So let's go ahead and power this thing on. There's my light up color screen. Now, the Game Boy Micro has a really nice, vivid screen. Again, the biggest critique is that it's small, but it's a Game Boy Micro, so I wouldn't expect a giant screen on something that has Micro in the title. So that it's got a pretty good speaker. Power it all the way down. Can't hear anything. You hear the chirp. The speaker sounds like it's doing a lot of work though. So I don't know if it's the internal amp. It just feels like, especially in the low end, it's doing a lot of work and not getting a lot of results. And that grill, we talked about the grill on the Game Boy Color. This grill is pathetic. It is 3 exhaust ports, or exhaust holes, but not a lot of sound emanating from it. So this would be something that you definitely play with your headset. Again, the volume marker is here on the side, and it does beep, and it gives you that final 3-tone chirp when it's at max volume, which this is nowhere near as loud as the Game Boy Color or the Game Boy Advance or SP. But again, this is a small micro console, so I don't expect it to be too loud. But this is the Game Boy Micro, so we're not going to really play into this too much. But so I just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a tour of this, of my new, some new to me consoles. So we have the Micro and the Game Boy Color. Now, if you like this video, please go ahead and like it down below. If you want to see more content of me either showing off some retro games or game systems, please subscribe. I also do a weekly Minecraft video. It's more of a Let's Play series, survival server. If you really like me showing off kind of consoles, give me a comment down below, and I have lots of other things that I can talk about. I have a lot of consoles and a lot of games that go with it, and I would love to explore my collection with you. So if you like this content, again, comment down below. Tell me you want to see more. Tell me, ask me questions. What kind of systems do I have? And I will gladly answer it. Please follow me on Twitter at Mr. Retro. And then like and subscribe. Thank you guys. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.